All right, everybody. We always love covering Candace Owens because her arguments are dog shit. She's not very smart, and she's probably the most proven to be a grifter right wing figure out there. We've seen it multiple times on stream before. I've shown it to you guys. I don't feel like I need to bring it up again. But there is a chronology of Candace Owens' history online where back in the day, she was this big time SJW who was in favor of doxing internet trolls and hated the right and sued her college for being racist and got help from I believe the NAACP or whatever, to on a lawsuit, an anti-discrimination lawsuit, and then nowadays she's completely flip-flopped on everything overnight, following the money, disavowing the NAACP as being a hate group, anti-white, believing that hate speech against black people doesn't really exist or whatever. Really, really, really funny shit. Anyway, this is actually following some drama that happened recently that has sort of been the most frustrating example of the right weaponizing liberal identity politics against the left. Okay? So, we all know about the Nicki Minaj Hassan Piker situation. Basically, to summarize it, Nicki Minaj tweeted some made-up story about, her friend's, or her cousin's friend in Trinidad who took the COVID vaccine, was made impotent by it. It made his nutsack swell up, and then his fiancée, he was about to marry, called off the wedding and broke up with him 1 week before the wedding because of that. And then she tried to claim it was because of the vaccine, and that if you plan to take it, then you should pray on it first, right? So basically, just doing vaccine hesitancy, vaccine denialism, anti-vax light shit, right? And obviously, this got Nicki Minaj in quite a bit of drama because, well, Nicki Minaj makes the type of music that's typically going to be more consumed by left-wing people. Her content, her music videos, her songs are very, pro-sexual liberation, which the right is very much against. So her fan base is pretty damn, left-leaning, generally speaking. So this got her into a lot of hot water. But then Tucker Carlson, of all people, came out to defend her. So Nicki Minaj on Twitter decided to post the clip of Tucker Carlson and promote him. Tucker Carlson is a white nationalist, okay? He's a Nazi, all right? If you want to know how bad Tucker Carlson is, go do the research, okay? I don't need to reiterate all the terrible shit he said here. There's a long list. You won't finish it in a few minutes. It's too long. It's a long fucking list, okay? It's like a list of Geneva Convention banned war crimes, all right? He's got a long list on his ledger of bad things he said and done. So it was odd that this very prominent black woman was obviously signal boosting him to her massive Twitter following of millions of people. 22 million followers or something like that. So Hassan Piker, our favorite Turkish champagne socialist, that was a joke, by the way. Hassan's pretty cool dude. Went ahead and said, hey, you shouldn't be doing this. He's a white nationalist. And then the right, out of nowhere, just jumps on board with Nicki Minaj after years and years and years of shit-talking her for her sexualized music videos and starts defending her because now she's anti-vax and now she's defending Tucker Carlson and now she's going up against Hassanabi, one of the largest left-wing streamers, the largest left-wing streamer there is. And of course, one of the largest arguments used by Nicki Minaj stans was, no white man can tell a black woman what to do, you racist piece of shit. And it's she's supporting a white nationalist. He hates black people. As an anti-racist, we should all be against the promotion of his career and his rhetoric. But no, the right jumps on board, uses the id poll against the left, and this is why we gotta cut down on the crazy, cringy liberal id poll shit. So, speaking of crazy liberal id poll being used by the right against the left, here we got Candace Owens, who went ahead and did a short little 10-minute Instagram live stream talking about Nicki Minaj. I imagine what we're going to get here is that we're going to hear Democratic plantation, the left are the real racists, black people don't have to be Democrats, black people don't have to be progressive, and black people don't have to listen to what white liberals tell them they should believe. I think those are going to be like the 5 main points that we're going to hear. As always, I have not watched any of this prior to covering it. I just kind of have a gut feeling this is going to be worth responding to. Let's read the caption first. Nicki Minaj just stepped on the heels of the establishment. Oh, I love that. I love how these pseudo-populists just refer to the establishment. It means nothing. The establishment has no meaning, okay? Anytime you hear a populist say they're sticking it to the establishment, shove that person's hand into a plugged-in toaster, okay? And turn it on, all right? Because you're going to be doing them more... Getting rid of their tweeting hand, you're going to be doing them a bigger favor than allowing them to continue to say dumb shit on the internet, okay? Nicki Minaj is experiencing what so many of us who have dared to ask questions that went against the mainstream propagandists have experienced. I have so much respect for her for not backing down. Why are we not allowed to ask questions? Do you guys remember when all the neo-Nazi YouTubers, like the people like Richard Spencer and like the Nazi guys, like the overt, like openly Nazi guys back in the day before they went full mask off and like they had their little things, like people like Nick Fuentes and Richard Spencer and David Duke, how they would always say just asking questions. That was always it. Like when they talked about like IQ differences between races and stuff like that, they just say, "Oh, I'm just asking questions," you know? Hey, maybe we should know if black people are genetically inferior to white people. I'm just asking questions. Racists love to dog whistle their true intent behind just asking questions. Because rather than making them come off as like a real-life Calvin Candy from Django Unchained, a fucking sociopathic racist who carries around a black man's skull and calipers to like show off the difference in like the skull shape or whatever. Instead, it makes them come off as these reasonable, well put together, quippy, smart, well educated academics. That's how, like, reasonable logic lords is how it makes them come off. And of course, Candace Owens does the exact same shit.
Wow. I'm gonna keep this short because I actually have to go to bed. But I am just like playing catch up. Obviously, you guys know I was baking all day, and I'm playing catch up on this Nicki Minaj saga. And all I can say is wow. I mean, first and foremost, I'm going to be 100% honest and open that in a way I'm glad this is happening. Not because she deserves it. Obviously, I've been very vocal in defending her, but because she has such a huge fan base and such a dedicated fan base that this incident will go a really long way in terms of waking people up to the evils of the mainstream media, to the way that they all just, it seems like they get a text message and they say, take that person out. And then every late night host.
They get a text message that says, take this person out. Dude, I wish we lived in the Tom Clancy novel that conservatives think that we live in. Okay, I really do. Can you imagine how exciting the world would be if we lived in the world that conservatives think we live in? Like, how based would the establishment be if they were actually pushing the policies that they think they do? These motherfuckers think the Democratic Party is socialist. Okay? They think MSNBC, CNN, all of these mainstream like Democratic, Democrat, outlets are socialist. Okay? Now, you can argue they're progressive. You can argue they miss sometimes, but it's a lot harder to take you seriously when you literally can't even define the difference between leftist and liberal. When you are so disconnected and so uneducated on even the most basic, like, political discourse, it becomes really hard to take anything you say seriously. Hey, call me Dick Girl. How you doing?
Every media host, every, government official is out saying a lie. It's just lying about something that never happened.
Literally
and
lying.
Pretending that this person is crazy. I mean, obviously it's happened to me so many times. But For those of you guys that don't know what happened, some of you guys are saying what happened. Nicki Minaj tweeted.
By the way, there's a reason why these people, these right-wingers, have such a massive disdain for fact-checkers and mainstream media outlets. It is because it is the media's job to check those in power. That's the media's job. The media's job is to investigate the government and those in power, the rich, the wealthy, those who control the government, and to air their dirty laundry, should they deem it necessary, to inform the people who, in a functioning democracy, are supposed to be the ones who elect their representatives. You need to know the actual character of your potential elected representatives before you vote for them. That's why the press is so important. Problem is, all of these people have so many skeletons in their closet, so much dirt that they would like to hide from the public, that the mainstream media, journalists, just the media in general, their responsibility is to air that dirt, to make the public aware of it before they determine their opinion on a certain person. And that's why they hate it so much. That's why they've rallied so hard against the media, against the news.
I believe it was yesterday. She tweeted yesterday so that a friend of her cousin's had a reaction in his testicles to the vaccine. That was what she tweeted. So I'm just keeping this 100% factual. And she didn't say this happens to everybody. She didn't say this is gonna definitely happen to you, don't get the vaccine. She just said do your research, think and pray on the vaccine.
All right. Oh, God. I hate that I'm pausing this so much because it's 10 minutes long and I want this to be a fairly quick segment. Never, ever take anyone seriously if they say do your own research, okay? The research is there. The vaccine is safe as long as you don't have any underlying medical conditions that keep you from being able to take the vaccine. All right? And guess what? When you go anywhere to get vaccinated here in America, they have you sign a form in which you have to check certain things, whether or not you take certain medications or you have certain medical issues with you. And the doctor or the people administering the shots will look over it and say, oh, you've got this thing? Oh, you can't get the vaccine. No, you have this underlying medical condition. You won't be able to get vaccinated. You're going to have to rely on herd immunity. And those people should be pushing even harder for other people to get vaccinated because they rely on other people being vaccinated to keep themselves from getting sick because they can't get the vaccine. Okay? Do not do your own research because when you do your own research, you're going to come across Facebook groups full of misinformation. Listen, all right? Anti-vaxxers out there, or should I say vaccine-hesitant people. Do you think that it's maybe a red flag that most people get into that kind of idea in the same way that flat earthers get into flat earth, and that people who think the moon landing is fake get into that kind of conspiracy, or people who think that just any conspiracy theory? Do you think maybe that when you came across this anti-vax stuff the same way people come across the flat earth conspiracy stuff, maybe you're not really going to the most credible sources. When you're getting your information, your opinions from Facebook groups, maybe, just maybe, you're looking at the wrong sources to get your opinions from.
And if the establishment had just let it ride, people would have probably not thought twice. But of course, you are not allowed to speak against Big Pharma. And Nicki Minaj is not in politics.
Oh my God. When Republicans try to dunk on Big Pharma, it's always really funny to me because when Republicans are actually in power, you don't hear shit about Big Pharma. You don't hear shit, not a goddamn thing about Big Pharma. Because guess what? When Republicans are in power, they have the ability to crack down on the pharmaceutical industry and to make these medicines and these things that people need to survive, like EpiPens, more available to people and cheaper. But they don't do it. Because guess what? That is the opposite of the Republican Party line. Okay, they are not against Big Pharma. They're against vaccines. They are anti-vaxxers. These people are no different than the anti-vaxxers that the internet used to make fun of back in the day, just like they made fun of flat earthers like 4 years ago. But now all of a sudden, it's just a standard conservative opinion now. Like the general party line is being an anti-vaxxer. It's really wild to see how much the Republican Party and just conservatives in general have degenerated in their like opinions. They were already stupid before, but like now they've like 3 years ago me would have been like I wouldn't think that most large right-wing figures would be anti-vax in 2021, but look at me, color me surprised.
So we know how much control and power they have, how much money they throw at, so many individuals, corporations, even Facebook, billions and billions of dollars that they're giving every year to make sure that no one ever talks against them. And at the moment, they don't care about anything other than making sure that every single person gets this vaccine.
I like how Candace Owens is saying this on her verified Instagram account with over 4 million followers. That's like, it's literally that one meme. Hold on. It's the I'm being silenced meme. It actually is. It's this meme. Unironically. We're dropping your column. Many readers think you're just too extreme. I have been silenced. Talking on stage in front of like hundreds of people. I have been silenced. Having like your a story in the newspaper. I have been silenced. Being on Fox News here with his new book. I have been silenced. I've been silenced. Yeah. It is so hilarious to me to see conservative. Whoa! Why are you auto-playing? Just because I tabbed out. Come on, Instagram, get your shit together. Yeah, I cannot get over these people saying like, oh, I'm so oppressed by the mainstream media and these large social media websites. They're silencing me. Verified, over 4 million followers. Come on.
And Nicki Minaj just kind of said something that happened, and they are going after her right now in a way that I have not seen. I mean, she's getting like treatment akin to.
Also, I want to say this is also really funny. Where do you think conservatives think ivermectin comes from? Or hydroxychloroquine, back when that was the thing. You guys remember hydroxychloroquine? They've done the whole ivermectin thing before, right? Where they found like some medicine that doesn't really have any strong evidence that it helps with COVID, but at least it's not a vaccine, so they'll push it. Like, ivermectin is basically just hydroxychloroquine too. Okay, it's the same shit over and over again. They show for Big Pharma plenty. As long as it's not a vaccine, they're happy. Because at this point, the Republican Party and conservatives as a whole have sort of been pigeonholed into appealing to the psychotic wine mom boomers on Facebook. Like wine boomer moms on Facebook. That's like the anti-vaxxers, the flat earthers, the conspiracy theorists, the Alex Jones viewers. Like, these are the people that these right-wing demagogues have to appeal to now. And it's made all of their arguments just so much more crazier and so much more mask off. And I'm here for it. It's a lot easier to make fun of.
Conservatives, like when we say something against Democrat Party, black conservatives, like they just go nuts. They make stuff up. Do yourself a favor, because I'm sure there's a lot of people here that are Nicki Minaj fans that are watching this video. Do yourself a favor now, just watching the situation. So you are watching in real time. They are lying about somebody that you love. They're lying about Nicki Minaj. They're calling her crazy. They're calling her unstable. They have the Minister of Health coming out.
So what Candace Owens is doing here is really, really smart. This is actually how Blair White built a lot of her audience originally, right? So you've got this black woman here who is a conservative and is doing a pretty decent job of hiding her power level right now. Like, the only right-wing ideas she's espousing right now are like anti-vax shit, which, I mean, if you're a Nicki Minaj fan watching this Candace Owens clip, one of the 2,055,000 people who's watched this clip in the last 11 days, then chances are you're already on board with the anti-vax stuff if you're on Nicki Minaj's side. And now Candace Owens is going to reel those people in. The dumb teenagers who just like Nicki Minaj and are on board with her because why not? She's reeling those people in. She's going to try to get these young Nicki Minaj fans on board with radical far-right conservatism and white nationalism. That's her goal here. And she's doing a very effective job at it.
Speak out against her. Not a single one of these people have ever reached out and said, hey, can I speak to the person to see if this happened? No, because that's not what they do. This is not journalism. This is propaganda. A journalist would say, hey, I'd like to actually look into what you said to determine whether or not you're a liar. But they're just going, no, she's a liar. Nobody look at, no. Literally yesterday, Piers Morgan sensationally tweets that she's the reason people are going to die. Like, literally, they're calling her a murderer now. Like, it's just the wildest, most insane thing I've ever.
How do you respond to people just saying, like, don't take medicine? Like, I'm genuinely curious. What response should I have to this woman just laughing as she makes the argument medicine bad? Like, how do I respond to that? How do I respond to just somebody who just thinks medicine bad? Is there any actual response to that you can have? Like, is it even worth a response? The problem is, like, conservatives are so stupid that these like beliefs, these ideas that she's espousing right now, they're just so obviously wrong to most left-wing people here, including myself. Like, so stupid that they aren't even worth response. These are mainstream, party line, conservative talking points. These are like the core of the current conservative zeitgeist
ever seen. Like, and what's really funny about this especially is that, when it comes to reactions to the vaccines, they're literally pretending it doesn't happen, while at the same time you can do basic research. For example,
hey, guess what? If you look up COVID vaccine symptoms on YouTube, Google, Twitter, any mainstream social media site, guess what comes up? A list of symptoms that you could have from the vaccine. Notably, for a couple days, you might have some chronic headaches, but like soreness, like muscle aches, and just general like body pains. That's something everybody has known, everybody has talked about going into it. However, still say it's worth it. Not to mention, all these mainstream news outlets have said that you do not need to take the vaccine and drowsiness, yeah. You do not need to take the vaccine if you are not medically able to take it. What agenda does she think is going on here? I really would love to talk to Candace Owens about this and find out, like, what agenda she thinks is going on behind the scenes.
Well, right now in Singapore, you guys might remember there was a 16-year-old boy who got the Pfizer vaccine and went into cardiac arrest. And at that time, all the media was coming out being like, oh, well, the kid lifted weights and he took some vitamin supplements, like that makes a difference.
Every time a conservative brings up an anecdote and I take the time to research it, they're always lying about the story. Do you want to do it? Hold on. Singapore COVID vaccine death. Just a lot of posts, a lot of stuff about how there's a massive spike in cases of COVID in Singapore. What story is she referring to? It's a waste of time. This is obviously a fake story. Does anyone, like, nothing even came up? Did she say it was like a... God, I love Instagram. Every time I tab out, it completely restarts our position in the video. Do you guys even know how far into the video we were before I tabbed out? How far were we in the video before it tabbed out? Guess we'll never know. I'll have to click around. God, Instagram is such a shitty fucking site. Yahoo News? You couldn't find anything, like, better? Okay, I mean, well... 16-year-old teenager suffered a heart attack 6 days after receiving his first dose of the Pfizer BioNTech I'm not even going to try. COVID vaccine will be eligible for one-time financial assistance of $225,000. This will be provided under Singapore's Vaccine Injury Financial Assistance Program, VIFAP. Has FAP in it. So the Ministry of Health, MOH, on Monday, 16th of August, it added that the medical investigations have found that the youth had developed acute severe myocarditis, which led to the out-of-hospital cardiac arrest. The myocarditis was likely a serious adverse event arising from the COVID-19 vaccine he received, which might have been aggravated by his strenuous lifting of weights and his high consumption of caffeine through energy drinks and supplements. Wait, was this kid one of those dude bros who literally drinks nothing but energy drinks and like works out and just eats vitamins all day? You guys realize that you're not supposed to eat gummy vitamins all day and drink nothing but protein shakes, right? You realize that can kill you, right? You guys do know that can literally kill you, right? There are people who think they're super healthy because they take tons of vitamins and like drink like protein shakes and stuff, but have massive like nutrient deficiencies. You know, it's like a huge issue, right? Probably overdosed on pre-workout. Yeah, he didn't even die. He went through cardiac arrest and was okay. He's making good progress and can perform his activities of daily living without assistance. It noted, adding that the teenager will likely be discharged in the coming weeks. However, he will also likely require outpatient rehabilitation for some time before he can return to school and resume other activities. The medical team will continue his treatment and monitor his condition, said the MOH. The independent clinical panel appointed to assess the adjudicate the VIFAP application found that while he has made good improvement because his condition was severe and critical, he will require treatment and rehabilitation for some time yet to continue his recovery. So Candace Owens just lied right here. She said that like news organizations and the medical industry or whatever were claiming that it was just because he lifted weights and stuff. They're literally paying him out $225K and doing an inquiry on what caused it, whether or not it was the vaccine, and whether or not it should be considered a possible side effect of the vaccine in the future. This is literally an example of how stringent how many watchful eyes there are on possible side effects from taking the vaccine that might not be known about yet. This is like the opposite of the thing you'd want to point to if you're an anti-vaxxer like Candace Owens. I think we were like 3 minutes in, maybe.
Is that, when it comes to reactions to the vaccines, they're literally pretending it doesn't happen, while at the same time, and they were kind of trying to like receive what, is akin to $166,000 payout from the Ministry of Health in Singapore, whatever their health organization, basically the government gave him $160,000 to help with his injuries, and they admitted that this was an adverse reaction. But to think about this, early on, before they acknowledged and put a warning that
also, is it perhaps a little weird that he went into cardiac arrest 6 days after getting vaccinated? Like, I know it takes, 2 weeks for the vaccine to really fully take effect, but you would think if there was something in the vaccine that was going to cause you to go into cardiac arrest, I don't think you guys realize, but if something's introduced to your body that's going to cause you to go into cardiac arrest and it's injected into your bloodstream, that's going to happen pretty quickly, from my understanding. No, it's not weird if you get that side effect. It's going to last for a while. I mean, it sounds like this motherfucker for 6 days after getting the vaccine was downing protein shakes and vitamins and working out like crazy. Doesn't exactly sound like... maybe we can hear his own personal testimony and say, yeah, my chest has been really tight and I've been having these sharp pains in my left arm for the last 6 days, but I just kept working through the pain. Maybe that's what happened and eventually it was just too much for him. But if it was just out of nowhere it hit him 6 days later... I don't know.
At myocarditis in teenagers.
Regardless, though, legally speaking, these medical institutions, if it's been within a certain time window of taking the vaccine, if something happens to you, they at the very least have to investigate it in some way. They have to. That's the process, because that's the only way they find out whether or not these vaccines do have harmful side effects that need to be known about. If someone takes a vaccine and a few days later they go through cardiac arrest, they're going to look into that. They have to.
Was happening because of the vaccine. Mothers were coming out and saying it was happening. and they were all called liars. They were having their accounts deleted. People were saying, issuing labels, taking them down off of Instagram, all of these things, saying it's not happening, until they had to finally acknowledge it was happening. And now there's a warning about the heart inflammation, myocarditis heart inflammation that teenagers are experiencing. And now they say it's exceedingly rare, but it can happen. And similarly, I and many other people had used our platforms to talk about the fact that we knew a lot of women. I obviously didn't get the vaccine, but we knew a lot of women that had gotten the vaccine.
Candace Owens has definitely gotten the vaccine. Okay, I feel if you put a gun to the back of my head and say, if you get this wrong, I'm pulling the trigger. Okay, name one conservative that you know for sure has gotten vaccinated. The first name that would come to mind would be Candace Owens, because I know beyond a reasonable doubt Candace Owens is a grifter who's just following the money. You know she's vaccinated. You know she's done everything in her power to get vaccinated immediately. She's not putting her life on the line. Her millions of dollars. She wants to live a good long time with her millions of dollars, okay? She knows the vaccine works. She knows COVID could kill her. She got vaccinated. All right, she's got millions and millions and millions of dollars to hold on to for the rest of her life and to spend and enjoy, okay? She is... No one as rich and successful as Candace Owens, who's as big of a grifter as her, isn't getting vaccinated, okay?
Vaccine, and they were having weird menstruation responses to it. Well, go back and look up like the menstruation thing, and you will find actual doctors, big pharma people that were writing articles against this and saying it is a impossibility. It is.
I like how she was putting actual doctors in like quotes. Wait, does she know what quotes mean? Were they not actual doctors? Were they like faking it? Or they made up? Are they fake people? Is it like do they think like with the election with Trump, where they think that like a bunch of dead or non-existent people voted for Biden? They now think the mainstream media is now making up fake doctors to reference to say the vaccine is good?
It is physiologically impossible, biologically impossible that this vaccine could impact.
Remember, she got blocked from getting vaccinated? They won't vaccinate her because of her anti-vax stuff? No way. Wait, real? No, it was a COVID-19 testing lab. I know what you're referring to. It's not true. Yeah. It was one. Yeah, I looked it up and immediately remembered. Thanks, babe. Yeah, there was like a single COVID-19 test lab that did not accept her service. Yeah, she was not denied the vaccine. The only way you're getting denied the vaccine is if you come into like a place where they're giving them out and start a scene or something, like, and then they might kick you out of the establishment. But you can just go right next door and get a vaccine there. You cannot be banned from getting the vaccine. I guess unless you have a medical issue, in which case they won't let you get vaccinated because they'll be like, "No, you got a immune disorder. We can't give this to you."
They were having weird menstruation responses to it. Well, go back. Time goes by and they can no longer deny that things are happening. Now, I'm not saying that this confirms the story. I don't know. I did not go and ask Nicki Minaj or get in touch with her cousin, but it's the same thing that they keep doing repeatedly, which is that they say it's impossible, it's not happening, you're a liar, you're crazy, and all of these things.
Candace, the reason why people called Nicki Minaj a liar is because she literally told possibly the most unbelievable anecdote I've ever heard. Okay? My cousin's friend got vaccinated. It made his balls swell up, and he became impotent. And his fiance, who he was going to marry 1 week later, called off the wedding, and now he's lonely and suicidal or some shit like that. This is like, it sounds like an old, 1980s Dare ad about marijuana. If you go near the pot needle, you're gonna be living underneath a bridge and sucking dick to make money. Like, it reminds me of like an 80s Dare ad, like a don't smoke weed, don't do drugs, kids. Like for elementary schoolers in like fucking the 1980s. True, commie dick girl, I never miss.
Things, and they refuse to just listen to people or have an honest conversation, which I think is a reason why people are more distrusting of big pharma because of the lengths that they are going through to take down good people. I mean, Nicki Minaj has nothing to do with politics. She even said at one point, I'm probably likely going to get the vaccine, so I'm going to have to go on tour.
Nicki Minaj has nothing to do with politics? I'm sorry. Tell How much do you want to bet that Candace Owens at some point has used Nicki Minaj specifically as an example of the degeneration of Western culture and why sexual liberation is bad? How much do you want to bet that Candace Owens has at some point in one of her fucking live streams or videos brought up Nicki Minaj specifically as an example of feminism going too far? I'd be willing to bet, like, quite a few coconuts on that.
But, like, she is basically saying to people, think critically and do your research. Like, when did that become a crime to say, think critically and do your research? Like, this is crazy stuff. Even the White House is now trying to say, oh, we didn't even invite her here. We just offered to get her on the phone with a doctor who could, like, help her understand the effects. Like Don Lemon. I mean, all the usual suspects. Don Lemon, late night TV host, CNN, the people that we've been saying are fake news since forever. Like, it was like they all got a text message and it was like, kill Nicki Minaj. Or I should say, not like, I'm just being hyperbole.
Candace Owens thinks it's more likely that there's some shadowy cabal. She thinks it's the Jews, by the way. Well, she doesn't think that, but she knows her audience thinks that, so that's why she's alluding to it. She's referring to the Jews, of course. She thinks there's a shadowy cabal of powerful people who are texting all the mainstream like news outlets and all the like Tonight Show stuff and telling them to specifically go after Nicki Minaj rather than, now hear me out, this could be fucking insane. This could be, call me crazy. I think it might perhaps be a little more likely that these news shows are talking about Nicki Minaj because she's a large figure who said something that has a lot of people talking, and their job is to cover recent events that have people talking. I think that might be a little bit more realistic than there's a shadowy cabal of people who specifically texted them or messaged them or alerted them in some way that they all need to cover Nicki Minaj. I think it might just be that it's news and their job is to talk about the news. Just maybe. Maybe I'm crazy, but I think that's a possibility. Just maybe.
That care, because I know Instagram will look for anything to take a video down, but it was like they were like, go after, target Nicki Minaj is a better way of saying it, and just across the board. They are all going after her aggressively, telling her, she tweeted a video of a segment, I was on the segment with Tucker Carlson, and we just defended her, being like, why can't she tell people to think critically? I mean, that's all we asked. Why can't she ask people to think critically? And I mean, like, they're all.
Thinking critically is not seeing heavily substantiated and peer-reviewed data and consensus and then saying, I don't believe that. I'm going to do my own research. And then going on to Facebook wine mom far-right Facebook groups and learning about the dangers of vaccines and how the earth is actually flat, okay? That is not critical thinking, all right? That's called being critically... Not going to say it because I don't want to get canceled, but you guys know what I'm talking about.
Being like, you're now endorsing a white supremacist. Like, what are you talking about? How is Tucker Carlson
critically unbased?
a white supremacist? How am I a white supremacist? What are you even talking about? But this is what they do. And so I'm hopeful that, first and foremost, if you're a Nicki Minaj fan, I definitely was a Nicki Minaj fan growing up all throughout high school. But if you're a Nicki Minaj...
Can you actually imagine Candace Owens listening to Nicki Minaj? Can you actually imagine that? Candace Owens listening to Nicki Minaj? I don't know. It just doesn't... Yes, because she's a grifter? I don't know. I don't feel like, even though she's a grifter, I don't even feel like when she was left-wing, like she would have liked Nicki Minaj. Because it seems like when Candace Owens was, like, doing the left-wing grift, she was more SJW-y, like the more, like, sex-negative kind of... So... Back in like 2016 and before that, when Candace Owens was doing the left-wing grift, the more like feminist line to toe was that sexualization was bad. It's more of a a bit more of a recent thing for the feminist, like for the more general feminist idea to be like, yeah, sex positivity good. Like it's a little bit newer. Like back then, feminists were more so on the sex negative side when it came to a lot of these things, like sexualization bad, like putting women's bodies on a pedestal is bad. Those were like the ideas back then. So I feel like that's probably the belief she probably would have espoused back then.
Fan and you're kind of for the first time seeing this, the treatment of the media, and you're shocked by this, I invite you to do more digging because she's not the first person that has gotten this treatment. A lot of people that you thought that you hate, think that you hate, a lot of people that you think that the media has told you the truth about, you have likely been lied to about. A perfect place to start is with me. One of the biggest lies ever.
So what Candace Owens is doing right now, and we dipped into this earlier, is so the vast majority of the barbs, which are what the Nicki Minaj stands call themselves, are young POC women. That's a lot of them, and many of them are probably LGBT. And they are definitely more inclined to left-wing ideas. And now Candace Owens is like, oh, so now that you're all you're all defending Nicki Minaj and her anti-vax takes. Look, I'm a black woman too. You love black women, right? You're like all on board with defending somebody no matter what they do or what they say or who they promote based entirely on their race and their gender. Hey, I'm a black woman. Check out my opinions. They must be good. Hey, look at me. My opinions must be good. Because that's basically like the ironically the barbs are like unironically NPCs, and they just see like because the hardcore like liberal impulse, like they got a pipe like a tube in their head that just like makes them think, yes, if a white person says a thing, it's wrong. If a black woman says it, they must be right. So now you've got Candace Owens, who's far right, and whose opinions stand against everything that is the best interest of like POC women of color. Wow, I said people of color, women of color is what I just said. Women of color. All her opinions, all of her actual political ascriptions go against all the best interests of women of color. And despite that, a lot of women of color, especially younger ones that are fans of Nicki Minaj, are going to be falling down the alt-right rabbit hole because now they're stumbling across Candace Owens and they can't see past race and gender to the actual ideas being espoused. And I think a lot of this has to do with like young people who are really hardcore into idpol not fully growing into their opinions yet. Hopefully when they get older, they'll think a little bit more critically. They'll look more at the content of someone's beliefs more so than the color of their skin or their gender. That'd be an ideal thing. I like how I got to squeeze in a bit of a paraphrase Martin Luther King Jr. quote in there. That was a good little rhetorical flourish from my part. Trust me, Candace Owens knows what she's doing here. She's doing exactly what I'm saying she's doing, and she knows she's doing it. You can see the smirk on her face because she knows how useful this drama is going to be for her in growing her audience and growing her fan base.
Told about me in the mainstream media was that I said racism doesn't exist. This was a made-up quotation that never came out of my mouth. It was made up by, I think, The Root or The Daily Beast, and it said, the headline was, Candace says,
So I want to pause it and debunk this because she's lying. I mean, it's Candace Owens, of course she's lying. But I also don't want to have to like skip back around through the video to get back to where we were. We're at 8:08. That's easy to remember. All right, let's go. Literally nothing comes up if you look up Candace Owens' racism isn't real. Nobody has claimed this, it looks like. Here's something that could be this. Yeah, nothing. Nobody's accused her of this. Literally nothing. Stop, Instagram. You suck so much. Instagram, you're such a shitty website, Instagram. Literally nothing came up. I scrolled through like 2 pages. Candace Owens, racism isn't real. That's what I looked up. I scrolled through 2 pages and I didn't find anything.
Candace says racism is over because she's never been a slave, and they like didn't put racism is over in quotation marks because they made that part up. I never said it. And I did say I've never been a slave, and that has been one of the most viral lies about me, that every person who hates me is like, Candace says racism doesn't exist. Candace says racism is over. I never said it.
This is actually very Weasley. What Candace Owens actually says is that racism, nowadays, is a mostly individual thing. This is a very common conservative lie, that there is no such thing as systemic racism against black people. Instead, that it's like this individual thing, that individual people are racist, you can't control individual people's opinions, and there is still racism out there, but it doesn't manifest itself in a way that could systemically harm black people, which is obviously just a bald-faced lie. Anyone who believes this is either extremely stupid or lying, because the data is out there, the studies are there, the consensus is there, the criminological studies, the sociological studies, the analysis, all of it is there. The history is there. Everybody who knows anything about this topic knows that systemic racism is real, okay? And she claims that it's not. So that's probably what any of these articles that she's referring to actually said, and she's just misquoting them because it makes her sound good.
Ever. They just hate me because I've been talking to Black America about this exact thing that Nicki Minaj is going through, that there is an elite crowd that control, trillions of dollars behind. They control the media. They control.
She's literally JQing right now. I cannot believe it. On Instagram right now for 2 million viewers, verified on Instagram, literally just JQing.
Who you're supposed to like, who you're supposed to hate, and they are controlling the way that you vote, controlling the way that you think, controlling the actions you take, even if it's down to saying, I'm going to take a vaccine or not take a vaccine. They are true propagandists, right?
She's
Nicki
JQing.
Minaj is coming up against.
She is JQing right now. She's literally JQing. You mean rich people, right? No. She's dog whistling. She knows the types of people that watch her video. Oh my god, can we read some of these comments? Seeing a lot of white people in the replies. White. Look. Who gave Nicki Minaj that red pill? She just went live and aired some dirty laundry. I hope more people speak up. Nicki mentioned something against the jab and gets suspended from Twitter, yet Chrissy T can tell underage kids to kill themselves and she gets nothing. If you can't see the double standard here, you just don't want to see it. Have Nicki on your show. Just a lot of white people. A lot of white people commenting. I want to make it very clear, by the way, all of Candace Owens' fans are white, okay? All of them. They're all white.
The propaganda army. And I think it's really going to hopefully wake her up. I think she's a strong individual. She doesn't seem like the type of person to me that would be like, oh, I'm just going to do this. Somebody else said it. She just doesn't come across like someone who's trying to appease people to get invited into the cool club. But more importantly, I think this really represents a moment for millions and millions and millions of her fans all across the world to really understand what it is that we're fighting here. And it is an elite cabal of people that control the flow of information. They can.
Bro, what? She's just JQing. The mask has been obliterated. The mask has been dumped in the garbage and down the garbage disposal, and the shreds of the mask have been burned into ashes, and those ashes have been sent into space and launched into the sun. And then that sun has been launched into a black hole. All right. And not only has that sun, with the ashes of that mask, been launched into a black hole, now trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions of years have passed, and the dark matter, or whatever kind of matter it is in a black hole, has decayed to the point where there is not even a black hole left. The atoms that make up that burnt mask no longer exist because they've decayed, because of the entropy of existence in the universe. Okay, that is how gone the mask is right now.
Control the flow of conversation. They control who we like and who we hate, and control what we put into our bodies. So keep the conversation going. More power to Nicki Minaj. Huge fan. Absolutely loving this. Everything that you're doing in terms of just standing up. And I hope to see more of it. And if they unlock your account, I think she said recently that they have.
Well, I guess we know what we're calling this video, huh? Candace Owens goes mask off Nazi and video defending Nicki Minaj. Damn, yeah, whew. Now she's standing Nicki. Yeah, and also JQing while she does it. I really do wonder, like, how many of Nicki Minaj's fans are smart enough to catch on to this. Like, you have to assume that a fair amount of Nicki Minaj's fans are, like, adult progressive people who hopefully are, like, woke enough to hear dog whistling of the JQ and maybe, just maybe, please see past race and gender, or like the skin color and the gender of the person saying it, and like actually hear what she's saying, because it seems like, especially following Hassan's cancellation, that like with the people who are defending Nicki Minaj, they are incapable, it seems, of actually hearing the arguments. They seem to think that, like, if you're white, if you're a white man, then you're wrong, no matter what your politics are. If you're a black woman, then you're right, no matter what your politics are. Like, I really hope some of them have better critical thinking skills than that. I've been talking to Black America. She did say that. I've been talking to Black America. I'm sorry, but Black America voted for Biden, all right? Black America voted for Biden, Candace. All right, I'm sorry. Sorry to tell you. The stats are there. Although Candace Owens is, I mean, the stats are controlled by the Jews, I'm sure she thinks. Yeah, wow. Didn't expect Candace Owens to go full mask off like neo-Nazi JQ, but, I mean, here we go. I mean, what the fuck else do you want me to say, guys? There ain't much else to say. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell icon next to the sub button if you want YouTube to actually tell you when I go live or upload a new video or do anything on my channel. They won't do it otherwise, so make sure you hit that motherfucking bell icon. It takes, like, how many muscles do you think is in this finger? The clicking finger. How many muscles do you think is in that? Like, it's like 14 muscles in that finger. Only like 14 muscles out of the, like, what, 450 million you have in your body? I don't even know. Also, of course, if you want to follow my social media, it's all linked down below, including my fan Discord and my Twitter, which you should definitely check out, because that's where all the spicy memes happen. And of course, if you got extra money for it and you don't need it for anything else, and you don't know what to do with it, you can always support me financially to keep my stream going, as this is my main full-time job, and your support is how I continue to make content on the channel. You can either subscribe, gift a sub, or donate directly through my website, xanderhall.com/live. By the way, even if you can't donate, come to my website. That chat that you see on screen, that's my website. See? Custom chat. Look at that. Look at all the emotes and stuff like that. Way cooler than Twitch or YouTube chat. So come over to the website. That's where all the real memes happen. And of course, you can also support me on YouTube by hitting the join button to become a channel member, or just super chatting to donate directly. And of course, you can also sub, gift subs, or Prime sub for free with Amazon Prime over on Twitch. Or you can donate through directly through Streamlabs or pledge me on Patreon. But no matter how you support my channel, I really do appreciate you watching. And if you've seen this far into the video, I want you to comment down below. What do I want you to comment down below? Rip Harambe. I don't know. A dumb fucking 2016 meme. I can't think of anything else. Rip Harambe. How about that? It has to be like something unique enough that you know that's what they're referencing, right? Yeah, we're going, since we're reacting to like right-wing anti-SJW type figures, we're gonna do a 2016 meme. So rip Harambe if you watch this far in the video. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it, no matter how you supported my channel, and I will see all of you next time.